There you go.
Okay, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us in our part 2 of Face Your Fear series. Fear is something that I continuously struggle with, something that I have to step out of my comfort zone and work on all the time. But this morning when I was looking at verses in our Bible and stuff and saw this verse, and it's 2 Timothy 1:7. And it says, "For God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control." So fear is not of the Lord. And I have to remind myself that daily. And I pray all the time that I just get rid of that fear because it holds me back in so many ways. So I just want us to remember that going forward, that fear is not of him. It's something that Satan puts in our path, something we put on ourselves all the time. So with that, I'm going to let Kevin pray, and then we're going to let Angie jump in.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, let me pray. Father, we thank you for this morning. Father, thank you for waking us up and giving us the breath that we have. Father, we have so much to be thankful for. Help us not lose sight of that. We just take so much for granted. Help us not do that. Father, I just pray that you will guide our thoughts and our actions and our speech this morning, that you will be glorified, and help us remember that the spirit of fear is not of you, that fear is not of you, and that we have an almighty creator on our side. There's no reason for us to be afraid of man or of things, and we just thank you. Thank you for who you are and your love for us, and that you are all powerful. And that we can always put our faith and our trust in you, and you will never let us down. Father, thank you for Plexus, and may we just use it to glorify you. And we love you so much. Thank you for first loving us. It's in Jesus' precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. I'm going to my screen. Okay, so today we are talking about kind of the fear of what other people think. And I wanted to start out with probably one of the biggest things that I think that people have, and that's the fear of sharing. And just real quick, there was like maybe one person that I couldn't mute because it's something funky with their phone. But if everyone can make sure that they're muted so that way it takes out the background noise, that would be so helpful. So this morning we're going to talk about the fear of sharing, y'all. And I think that, even now sometimes as a Diamond ambassador, like I might meet someone new. I still have some fears about sharing. Even after I share, I want to go throw up somewhere. But, I do it. And definitely as your belief grows, as your confidence grows, it becomes an easier thing. So, here's the thing about sharing. Do you tell your friends, and in fact, I remember Cheyenne talking to me last week about a new mascara that she got, and she told me the brand, and I looked it up. Do you tell your friends about your favorite restaurant, your favorite makeup, your favorite lip gloss, or whatever it is? We all tell our friends about something that we find that we like or that is our favorite. And that's the way we need to look at Plexus. The biggest thing that I think that we look at is, I don't want my friends to, I don't want to make money off of my friends. I don't want to annoy my friends. Y'all, we need to stop looking at our friends as dollar signs and start thinking of them as a person that we want to share Plexus with. Why would you keep something from your friend that could improve their health or change their financial situation? I know that a lot of people look at, I don't want to annoy my friends. And I felt the same way too in the beginning, but you need to look at it more as you are not annoying your friends by sharing Plexus with them. And if your friends feel like, oh gosh, you're so annoying, or you've become one of those people, then they might not be your true friends, because your friends are going to stand beside you and support you And if you're just simply sharing with them, it's not annoying. I mean, when I look at it like this, okay, so when you have your friends, over to do things, at your house. Maybe you invite them over, or you invite them to a movie, or you invite them to dinner. I mean, you're doing this because you want to engage, and you want to engage them on the things that you enjoy. And that's the same thing with Plexus. Plexus is something for me that I enjoy. I enjoy this business. I enjoy the products because they have made such an impact on my family's life and so many other of my friends' lives. So simply sharing with them is just really getting them in, inviting them, just like you're inviting them to a movie or inviting them to a dinner. But I like to say, when people say, well, I don't want to make money off my friends. Y'all, your friends, I mean, probably 90% of your friends take a vitamin. Probably 90% of your friends maybe take some kind of supplement. Maybe drink energy drinks. Maybe do some kind of weight loss supplements from GNC or Walmart and Target. Why not buy those things from you? I promise you, I would rather buy a vitamin or a supplement or whatever it is from one of my friends than knowing that maybe I'm helping them put food on their table. Maybe I'm helping them supplement, like an extracurricular activity that their child wants to do, or helping them pay for their mortgage by just buying a vitamin from them. I mean, I would rather support my friends than support some big corporation like GNC, Walmart, Target. Your friends are going to buy the supplements anyway. Your friends are going to buy the energy drinks anyway. So why not give them an alternative? And also, I mean, this is going to help support you in the meantime. So really, kind of my point with sharing is you share your mascara, you share your favorite restaurant, you invite your friends over for dinner or for spa day. Why not share Plexus with them? And I really like, Tara Castaneda did some videos on this, and she was talking about, when you invite your friends to a meal, or you invite your friends to go shopping or to a spa treatment, do you pay for it? No. I mean, most of the time you do not. So when you invite them to do Plexus, to get these supplements, yes, they're gonna have to pay for it. Remove the guilt of not wanting to make money off of your friends. Your true friends are going to want to support you in this business and in this endeavor that you're currently doing. So stop worrying about, take the guilt off of wanting to share with your friends, and just start sharing, y'all. The more that you do it, the easier it's going to be. We're not selling, we are sharing. So Kevin is going to talk a little more about having a testimony.
Well, and I agree totally with what you said, Angie, is that we're totally afraid a lot of times because we're scared of what people think about us and stuff like that. And we don't want to bug people, but if we truly believe in our products and we know that they're better, we know that they're better than what they're buying or what they're taking or what they're not taking. And you got to believe in the product like that. And I think it'll take a lot of your fears out of the way when you truly believe. So I totally agree with what you said, Angie. And so I think another fear is that people feel like they may not have a certain testimony. Maybe they're just getting started, or maybe their testimony when it comes to Plexus is not as crazy as some of the ones that are out there, so they're scared to share, thinking it won't have an impact. But that is so not true. Don't be afraid of that. Step out there and be bold. You got into Plexus for a reason. Something made you get become a part of Plexus, become a Plexus ambassador. So share that why. Share why you got, you became a Plexus ambassador. Maybe it's just to get your products at a discount. Maybe it's because you do have some type of health testimony, or that somebody has a health testimony, or you can even share somebody else's testimony. Say, well, I know it has done this and this and this for these other people. And so, sorry, Cheyenne's telling me to scoot back. I have a tendency to lean forward, so sorry. But anyway, don't be afraid to share, even though you may not have this crazy testimony starting out. You became part of Plexus for one reason or another, so don't be afraid to share that. Share your journey along the way. It can totally be a story to build upon, so don't be afraid to do that. And then the more you share, you'll get more and more comfortable about it, even if it's somebody else's. I mean, like, a big part of our testimony is not actually, it is personal because it's our daughter's, but she even has a bigger testimony than Cheyenne and I. And so we actually use her testimony a lot. So you can totally use a friend or family or somebody like that, somebody that you know personally that has a huge testimony. So don't be afraid of that. Even though you may not have the craziest testimony to start off with, don't be scared. And don't forget, again, it goes kind of back to what Angie was saying. We have stuff that will truly, truly help people. I mean, our stuff is natural. It's not loaded with a bunch of crap. It's good stuff. And then when you compare the cost of it to stuff at GNC or even Walmart, the cheaper stuff that's not as good, ours is not expensive. It's right there. So, I mean, we got some really good stuff that are changing people's lives. Don't forget that. Don't let that fear of sharing with others, supersede, what our products can do. So just think about all the people that you could be helping by sharing with this. Another thing, if you don't share, somebody else could. And so you never know, they could be looped in with the Monster drinks, and all of a sudden that commercial's pulling them in and they're drinking Monsters daily, a ton of them, and where you would have shared or something, they would totally, be willing to try it. I remember a buddy of mine got into the insurance business, and another friend of mine who had owned his own business, his brother-in-law had a business that he was really tight with, and he told me, he said, hey, if so-and-so would just come to me about his insurance business, I would totally switch all my insurance over to him. But he hasn't shown interest to sell to me yet. And that just sticks out in my mind. It's like, a lot of people will wait for you to approach them before they approach you. And so don't be scared to approach, because there's a ton of people that you could be helping. There's a ton of business to be had. Everybody could benefit from some way, some form of action from our product, but you just can't be afraid to share in that way. Zig Ziglar says, he was quoted by saying, if we don't start, it's certain that we can't arrive. We all want to get to a certain point. We all see these success stories and we all want to be there, but yet, so many of us let fear cripple us just from taking that first step. And it definitely gets easier as you go along. Once you start sharing, it's almost like it becomes, in a sense, just routine. It's like once you take the first step of sharing and getting over that hump of fear, then it's almost like that's behind you. You don't even think about it anymore. So anyway.
So, okay, one thing on that is what I've heard people doing, which I wish I would have done from the start, is reaching out to people, even if they don't have a testimony, and saying, hey, let's do this together. Let's link arms. Let's do this together. Let's get together. You don't have to have a testimony, like Kevin said. And also, if you want to hear, someone else will. I think there's somebody not muted. If you're not muted, if you can go ahead and try to mute yourself, that would be awesome. Thank y'all. I just get very distracted very easily. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so one of the questions that just came to Kevin and I was, how can you share your testimony if it's not compliant? Because we know there are so many words and terms that we're not supposed to be using publicly. I think getting with people one-on-one and talking to people one-on-one and sharing your testimony with them that way is a great way, to get around that. Just talking with someone. I think that's why it's so important to have those face-to-face meetings, or, on the phone, or just at coffee. That way you can share your whole testimony. Remember, everything we do doesn't have to be on Facebook. And sometimes I get caught up in that too, but it's great to take your business outside of Facebook. I love what Stephen King says, the quote that Stephen King has, the scariest moment is always just before you start. So think about when you're really nervous or scared, it's always at the beginning. Once you start something, it starts to flow, whether it's sharing your testimony, whether it's speaking on a stage, whether it's making a cold call, whatever it is, once you get started, it gets so much easier. So just remember that, and just have courage and be bold.
And if it's your testimony, if it's something that's going on personally with you, you can totally share that, especially one-on-one. I mean, it may not be something that you can put on Facebook, but Cheyenne's right. Don't be afraid to, message people and share, email and then try to get with them and then share personally with them. Because if it's your testimony, you can do that. That is what Plexus has done for you. And you can totally share that one-on-one. And that takes me, I don't mean to go off on a rabbit trail, but I know like Jared Abart, he and his wife both are Diamond Ambassadors, and he does not use Facebook at all. He hardly uses it to share about Plexus. Now they do videos and they have a channel,
Plexus U.
Yeah, Plexus U. It's kind of like an instructional. They do a lot of cool instructional videos when it comes to Plexus and stuff like that. And so, but he does not use Facebook to share. His are more, he is totally about just getting out there and building personal relationships. And so that's a great way. I think it builds it even more stable business. So.
Totally agree. So one of our other fears, I know this was a big fear of mine, is my Facebook page is my ministry. For Kevin and I, this was huge when I got started. Kevin's an elder at our church. As a lot of you know, we go on mission trips to Vietnam, and that's our main goal in life, is sharing Jesus with people. And so for us to start putting Plexus on our Facebook page was kind of difficult in the beginning. But y'all, like Kevin and Angie were saying earlier, if we have a product that we truly believe in, that can truly change lives, that can truly change people's financial statuses, why wouldn't we be telling them? With Plexus, and then with us being so involved in our church, that's just something that we've had to overcome. And I had to realize that my belief had to be strong enough in Plexus. My belief had to be strong enough in our products and in our company to share them. But y'all, Plexus has given me not only financial freedom and just better health, but y'all, it's given me a platform to talk about Jesus and to share what God is doing in and through our lives, and how he's using Plexus to do these things. You can see so many people in this company that truly give glory to the Lord, and that they're using their money to glorify him. And so for us, that was something that it's almost made our belief even that much stronger, because it's given us such a platform to talk about what he's doing in our life.
Mm-hmm. And so, no, I mean, I totally agree. It's not like you have to totally separate, your faith or anything else in your life from Plexus. I mean, Plexus is a huge part of our life, and Cheyenne and I totally believe, and I know there's many others within the company that believe that the Lord has used Plexus in our life for a reason. And I mean, you see it at conventions, you see it at leaders retreat and things like that, when people are able to get up there. And it's funny, you see a lot of the top people in Plexus, and it seems like their focus is more about sharing Christ than it is about Plexus. And that's so true. I mean, so you don't have to separate those two. You don't have to separate. I mean, Plexus, believe in the product, believe in the company, and it like becomes part of your story.
Yeah, and I think, like Kevin was saying, it's a tool. God has given us different tools and different resources to use. And for us, he's given us Plexus as a tool. And just, I think something good in that, though, to remember is Plexus is not your God. You know, it is definitely a tool to use. And I think, you know, as long as we keep it in that perspective, just like Alec always says, it's faith, family, and then Plexus. You know, keep that perspective. And I think, you know, that'll keep you on track for doing and saying the right things, you know, because I think so many times we can be so hyper-focused on Plexus, then that becomes our God. But in that, you know, just make sure you keep them in the right order that they're supposed to be in. Sorry,
we can kind of get off on a rabbit trail sometimes, so I apologize. Squirrel. So Cheyenne and I are both ADD. So okay, moving on.
I haven't had my edge this morning to help me focus.
All right. So okay, moving on. Another fear. I think a lot of people, and Cheyenne and I were like this. We had no idea. I didn't even know what MLM stood for. I had no idea what an MLM was necessarily. What I did know about MLMs was just negative things that I heard from other people. So I was totally against joining an MLM. I was totally against joining Plexus at first. And thankfully, I was hugely wrong when it came to Plexus. We had been approached by another MLM not too long, just a few months prior to Plexus, and just the whole thing kind of really put a bad taste in my mouth, if you will, about MLMs. And so anyway, when Plexus came around and Cheyenne wanted to look into it, it was definitely not for the business aspect, and I was totally against it. But then after I learned about what an MLM was and how it can be done right, and how Plexus did it right, it totally earned my respect. And so don't be scared to share because or don't be scared of sharing with others or trying to get others on board because you're not up on an MLM or you don't know anything about an MLM. It's totally okay. There's tons of people at the top levels of Plexus that had never been part of an MLM before, did not know how it worked, had no idea how they were going to get paid, what they got paid on. They just had no idea how it worked. And, Cheyenne and I are one of those. So we're one of those couples that had no clue. We had no clue what we were getting into. And we just learned as we went. So don't be afraid about sharing because you're not comfortable with how an MLM works. Basically, it's no different from any other sales organization out there. You're just the salesman. You're the salesman, and your market is everybody. Whereas when I was in sales, I did sales for almost 18 years, and it really worked no different. I was out there selling a product, and I got paid off of selling product. Now, it just happened to be that my client base were doctors and patients, but yours are everybody. And so you're really not tied down to a certain, group of people. Your market is everybody. And so it's just multi-level marketing, and you get paid on what gets sold underneath you. That is no different. My manager, when I was in sales, he got paid off for what all of his salesmen made. It's no different from any sales organization out there. And so just don't think that it's different or that it's dirty or that it's bad. It's just like every other sales organization out there, period. The difference between it and MLMs is that with MLMs, your target audience is everybody. I mean, anybody, including your friends.
Yeah. And I was going to say too, we are the face of Plexus. They're not paying these big advertisers to represent them. So they are paying their salespeople instead of paying for advertisement on, commercials or in stores or anything like that, on billboards. They're paying us instead to be the face of Plexus.
So that's how an MLM works. I mean, you are the advertisements. You are the salespeople. And so don't be afraid of that. And another cool thing about an MLM, or especially Plexus, is that, you're not limited. To whereas, I had a certain territory. I had a certain amount of doctors that fit within my niche when I was in sales, and that was my target. And so my target was limited. Whereas with Plexus, there is no limits. And so you can grow and grow and grow. So actually, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just like any other sales organization that's ever been around. But yet you're not limited, and you are the face. You are the ones that are out there, pushing the product. So you're the face of the company.
Yep.
And I like to say that, when I started, y'all, I didn't know anything about an MLM. I did not have a testimony, and all I knew was that my friends were doing this. It was making a difference financially and health-wise in their life, and I wanted to change. So, y'all, when I started, I immediately hit the floor running. I immediately started posting on Facebook. You know what? I had no clue what to post on Facebook, but I posted exactly what my upline was posting. I made it my own post. I posted it on Facebook. And until I really knew what to do, I did exactly what she was doing. So, y'all, you do not have to reinvent the wheel. You do not have to have a testimony to start sharing on Facebook. And guys, I mean, let's just face it. If you do not start sharing, somebody else is going to share to your friend. I mean, I have so many friends that all of a sudden I see them post about Plexus. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I not ever reach out to them? Or why didn't I follow up with them? I mean, if you don't reach out to them, somebody else is going to. So do not be afraid. And y'all, I mean, you are in control of your own business. Your success in this industry is not up to your upline, is not up to your downline. It is up to you. This is your own business. So you are responsible for just stepping out there and just doing it. Just really putting your fears aside. Ellen always says it's like kind of, you can't pay, I like this quote that it's like you can't pay your bills with other people's opinions. And when your why becomes bigger than those other people's opinions, that's when the real magic is going to happen in this business. When you just decide to draw your line in the sand and you are just going to go for it and do whatever it takes to make it happen. And something that I feel like is a huge fear in this industry is cold messaging and, posting and cold messaging on Facebook. I mean, they're like, oh my gosh, I do not want to post on Facebook, because of what I was saying before, I'm going to annoy my friends. I don't know what to post. And like I said, follow your leader. Until you know what to do, follow your leader. Cold messaging is huge. Cold messaging, warm messaging, whatever you want to call it. It is huge. It has been, for me, in the growth of my business, probably 98% of the people that have joined directly under me have been because I private messaged them on Facebook and just simply ask them to join. And you know what? If they don't respond to me after the first time, guess what I do? I follow up with them. I keep messaging them. There are people that I have messaged probably 20 times. I'm not even kidding. And it may have taken them 2 years to join, but you know why they finally joined? Because I did not give up on them. I kept following up. I kept messaging, kept posting on Facebook. I kept being consistent. your friends are watching you. They're wanting to see, like, are you going to fly? Or are you going to fail? Like, is this something that's going to stick? Are you serious about this? So if you're just throwing up a post on Facebook, you know, once a day or every 2 weeks, if you're just messaging one person a week, I mean, you're going to get what you put into this business. So you have to, and I tell my team, like, you have to post on Facebook at least 3 times a day about Plexus, about personal. You have to. The prime times to post on Facebook are between like 7 and 9 in the morning, because what do you do when you get up in the morning? You grab your phone, you check your Facebook. So between 7 and 9 in the morning. And then I also say at lunchtime. So that's between 11 and 1, because what do people do when they go to lunch? They pick up their phone, they check their messages, they check Facebook. So between that time and then 8 to 11 at night is really like prime time to post on Facebook, to message people. I mean, get your messenger out, and something really cool that Facebook has is like, it tells you who's on now. And if you see somebody's on now, message them right away. If you see somebody just did a post, message them like, hey, I see you're on Facebook. I'm stalking you. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I've said that before and put LOL. Like, you know, you've got to start getting out of your comfort zone, y'all. This business is all about like pulling out every insecurity that you ever had and growing you as a person. So do not be afraid to post on Facebook, because that's how your business is going to grow. I was kind of on a warpath this morning, just and not in a bad way, y'all. Tough love is a really hard thing for me, because I'm a lover and I just want to encourage you, to love you, to hug you, and I never want to say anything that's going to hurt your feelings or criticize you, because that's not in my nature. But y'all, some of us need to just get our big girl pants on, big boy pants on, and step outside our comfort zone, because if you want things to change, you have to change. You're going to have to step outside your comfort zone. I mean, we did not get to where we are today in this business by sitting back in our comfort zone, by not posting on Facebook, by not reaching out to people, by not facing our fears. You're going to have to face your fears head on, because once you face them, they're not fears anymore. It becomes an easy, natural thing. Are there still things? I mean, cold messaging still makes me nauseous. Leading meetings, I did 3 Facebook Live posts today, and I cried after one of them, and I wanted to throw up after the other one. Like, I still have fears. Like, I still have doubts. But the difference is I face them head on, and I just go for it. So I want to encourage you, if you do not know what to post on Facebook, get with your upline. Get with your sideline. I mean, get with whoever you have that's working this business with you, because some of you may not have an upline that's working your business. So get with whoever you have. I like to encourage people to follow the leaderboard. Every Tuesday, there is a leaderboard that is released with names. And these are people that, I mean, they're the leaders every week in the company. Friend them on Facebook, follow them on Facebook, see what they're posting, see what they're doing. Do what they're doing. You do not have to recreate anything. Do what they're doing. And then, you know, you kind of just get into your own groove there. If you do not know how to message people, the same thing. Get with your upline. You're always more than welcome to reach out to me. I have a whole, like, how to cold message people saved on my phone with all different sorts of cold messages that might fit your personality. You can just, I'm happy to send them to you. You can tweak them the way that you want them. But it's important to just get out there and do it. Because like I said, you know, like we said, if you're not sharing with them, somebody else will. And I really believe if you want to grow in this business, you have to do the work. You have to do the work that it takes to get to the next level. Diamonds are formed under pressure. And believe me, they are, because I've spent many of nights crying, like stressed out, but I would go through every single obstacle that I had to go to get where I am today in this business. So go for it, guys. Make sure that you are posting consistently 3 times a day. Your downline is not going to post on Facebook consistently if you're not doing it. More than likely, there are people that are going to do it regardless if you're doing it or not. Your downline is not going to be adding people to your team. It's not going to be cold messaging if you're not sharing it with them, if you're not doing it too. People are going to follow the example of the leader. So if you want to grow, you have to set the example. And if you have one customer, if you have one ambassador, you are a leader in Plexus. If you've joined Plexus, like, you are becoming a leader. So I really encourage you to set the example for your team by making sure you're consistent, posting 3 times a day. And I always tell my people, Monday through Friday, reach out, do your 5-3-1. So if you don't know what that is, so that is reaching out to 5 new people every day, following up with 3 people that you've reached out before, maybe your customers, maybe, potentials, whatever that may be, and then training 1 a day. And you're like, Angie, it's just me. I don't have anyone to train. Well, I always say, if you have a team, you need to train 2 a day, because you need to be pouring into yourself every single day. You need to make sure, because you cannot lead, you cannot grow if you are not pouring into yourself. And you need to be passing that along to your team, to anyone that's underneath you. If it's just a customer underneath you, send them something about the products that they're taking. Like, help tweak them. I mean, you can also train customers about product knowledge. And I think I kind of went off on a whole different path, but the whole thing is, you want to make sure that you are posting consistently and that you are reaching out consistently. And I say Monday through Friday. And if you feel like, 5-3-1 is a little too much, start off slow. Start off with 3-2-1, reaching out to 3 people a day, following up with 2 people a day. You know what? The only difference between a new ambassador and a diamond ambassador is, I promise you, Cheyenne and I have just had more people tell us no. We have just reached out to more people. We have had more people tell us no. So don't be afraid of that. The more no's, like, I get excited when someone tells me no, because that just means I am closer to a yes. So be consistent, reach out, cold message. If you don't know how to do it, or if you don't have any direction, reach out to your upline, reach out to your downline, find a sideline, find another leader that you can follow in Plexus. And so Cheyenne is going to talk about our challenges for this week.
Yeah, so just real quick, in talking about cold messaging, something that I found helpful for me that kind of takes that pressure off is asking for referrals. That way I don't feel like I'm so putting somebody on the spot, because that's just not my personality. So for me, I had to find ways to do it that I didn't feel funny about it. And some people are so good about just cold messaging, bam, and they're there. For me, I like to ask for referrals. Or if I'm talking to somebody about the business, whenever I reach out to them, I tell them why I think they would be good at the business. And I always like to tell people, your friendship is more important to me than any sale or anybody joining my team ever. Like, I just want you to know that. So I always put that in there, and that kind of takes that pressure off. And y'all, I've never had someone, when I've reached out to them about the business, I'm always authentic. And, I just want to make sure that I'm being truthful. I'm not telling every single person, hey, I think you'd be amazing because of this, this, and this. But whenever I reach out to somebody about the business, because I see something great in them and I tell them that, I've always had people, I've never had anybody mad at me or upset with me. In fact, they've thanked me and said, I've had people say, I'm not interested right now, but if I ever am, or they'll send me referrals instead. Or sometimes they say, yeah, I would love to join your team. Thank you. I've never thought about myself like that, So just make sure that you're telling them why you think they would be so good, at doing this business. So Okay, our challenge for this week. So we want you to have at least 2 face-to-face meetings. Now, that can be over coffee, that can be at a play date, that can be on Zoom, whatever you need to do. Reach out to somebody. Ask them if they'll have a virtual coffee with you. Ask them if you can take them to Starbucks. Ask them if you can take them, you and your kids for a play date or whatever. But make sure that you are reaching out. So that means you're probably going to have to make some cold calls this week, and have at least 2 face-to-face meetings. Face-to-face, y'all, is so important because they can they can see your, just being real with them, and they can hear your enthusiasm. So, and then you can just be real and it can be relaxed. It doesn't have to be sales pitchy, Also, we want you to work on taking a prospect to a meeting. If there's not a meeting that you can attend this week, look in advance for the end of this month. Look through the rest of the month and see if there's a time that you can take someone to a meeting. And then we want you to share daily, like Angie was saying, either 5-3-1, or if that's new to you, do 3-2-1. Guys, if you've never done either one of those, start with 1-1-1. Whatever is comfortable for you and whatever fits into your schedule. Just start slow, because I guarantee you, even if you're reaching out to just one person a day, that's 30 to 31 people a month. That's going to make a difference in your business. After you've done 1-1-1 for a while, bump it up, guys. If you've already been doing that, then bump it up. And then post your success under our recorded call. We want to hear what you're doing this week and throughout the next few weeks to overcome your fears. So we are proud of you. Thank you all so much for just getting on. Thank you for letting us share with you. And next week, we are going to be talking about the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and the fear of success, because I think we've all had a little bit of all of that. So is there anything you want to add?
What is a virtual coffee?
A virtual coffee would be a Zoom, like, hey, I'm going to send you a $5 gift card. Yeah. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to send you a $5 gift card, and we're going to Zoom. We're going to talk together.
Okay. So you don't just act like
well,
you're
drinking
drinking
coffee. I would act like I'm drinking coffee because I don't drink coffee, but I'd have my water. So anyways, get outside of your comfort zone this week, guys. Let us know what you're doing. If there is a fear that we have not talked about yet, we've kind of left the 4th week open because we want to hear back from y'all. So let us know if there's something that you want us to cover.
And if there are any questions right now, excuse me, you guys go ahead and ask if you want to. But if not,
we will see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah, you can just unmute yourself if you have a question and ask, or not ask, or ask later.
Or ask later. Message us. Awesome.
Okay, awesome. Well, you guys have a great week, and go out there and hit the ground running.
Okay.
And thank you, Maureen, and thank you to everybody that was on today. And we will see you next week. But hit the ground running, and don't let your fears get a hold of you. So.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.